Hello, everybody. So, after the terrible, well, I shouldn't say terrible disappointment, but after the events of last reading, I really took some time to sit and, I didn't grab a Fresca! Um, uh, 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 I'll be right back. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I can't believe I How could I? How could I? Okay. Oh, that's nice. Sorry. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. Gotta do it right. So, after the events of last reading, I was quite, displeased, I dare to say. So, I took some time, really sat with it, and decided, you know what? Now's the time. Now's the time that we branch out a little bit. I'm gonna bring you a little closer, just a little bit closer. There we go. That's a bit better framing-wise. Now's the time that we branch out a little bit. And because all of my previous readings have been from the main line of Mr. Men, Little Miss series. However, there are a ton of specialty ones. So today, I decided that it was high time that I read, not only just for the first special, I'm getting my words quite jumbly. So not only was it time for me to break tradition a little bit by not reading one of the mainline Mr. Men or Little Miss books, but what better way to start than with Walter the Worm? Now, Walter the Worm is a reoccurring character. If you'll see on some of the pictures of the series, he actually appears in a lot of the books. I would argue probably most, actually. Such good Fresca. He probably appears in most, actually. And, yeah. It's, he got his own book. So we're gonna take a dive into the story of Walter the Worm, and if it's disappointing, I'm gonna scream. I won't actually scream, but I'll just be so sad. Walter was a worm who lived in a hole. Not a damp, muddy sort of hole, but a warm, cozy sort of a hole. A warm, cozy hole at the bottom of Mr. Happy's garden. Maybe he actually first was introduced to Mr. Happy. We see Walter just chilling. I love Walter. I love the decor. I love the lamp. I love everything. I love the chair, the tunnel. It's adorable. I love it. It's cozy. Pardon me. It's so cozy. We love that. I wonder if he missed. I wonder if Walter the Worm is canon in Mr. Happy. Walter was very happy living in his hole, except when the grass was being mown and when the sprinkler was turned on. This is actually insane. There's actually pictures on both pages. There's pictures on the page with words, and there's a picture, like there's a full picture page. This is actually nuts. This is the first time I've ever seen this in a book. Are you getting this? Are you seeing this? Are you seeing this? I love that. So he's not happy about the grass getting mown because he, like, doesn't want to die, you know? And, the rain makes him sad because he doesn't like his home being damp, which is understandable. So understandable. Like, sometimes bestie just has to speak their truth. That's what Gandhi said. And when everyone was playing football in the garden, this is continuing the previous sentence of he hated things, except when everyone was playing football in the garden. But on the whole, he was happy in his hole. He had no desire to go anywhere else. He had no desire to travel the world. Something tells me this is going to change. Also, another dual page picture. This is, like, crazy. Also, Mr. Noisy's shoe. Just in case you guys didn't know, we've actually read Mr. Noisy, so we've learned his story. We've spoken his truth over here. So, I'm definitely feeling some setup vibes for Walter, having desire to go somewhere else and having desire to travel the world. But we'll find out. One morning, not that long ago, Walter's alarm went off. Early. Walter rolled out of bed. He brushed his teeth and had breakfast. Yes, worms do have breakfast. I love the dual-page pictures. I love this. We stan. Also, worms have teeth. That's yucky. That's not the most settling. Not that I don't want Walter to have teeth, but like, it's just kind of unsettling that Walter has teeth, you know? Just a little bit. Also, what a cute little bib. Cute little handkerchief to make sure he doesn't spill. That's adorable. Adorable. The sun was just rising as Walter poked his nose. Yes, worms do have noses. Out of his hole to see what he could see. It was a beautiful, sunny day. Walter decided to go for an early morning walk. Or rather, an early morning wriggle. He's peeking. He's peeking. And then he goes. This is like an album cover. Like, just the way... It's really beautiful. It's actually poetic. Can I frame this? Please? Walter was not the only person who had their alarm set early. The early bird had also got up very early. She had got up early because she was hungry. And she had been taught from a very young age that the early bird gets the worm. That's what they say. So we see sun low in the sky, just rising. Bird awake early. I'm sensing some conflict here. What time does that even say on the clock? Like 7? Nope, 5. I can read a clock. The early bird's beady eye had spotted Walter as he left his hole, and Walter had spotted the early bird's shadow crossing the lawn as she swooped down from her nest. "Oh, help!" cried Walter. Walter is terrified. Shadow of bird. Presumably Mr. Happy in the background. You know, if Mr. Happy saves Walter, I'm not going to be... Mr. Happy is a very contentious time on this channel already, due to his past actions. So we'll see what Mr. Happy does in this book, if he can not do that thing again. If he can like not be as terrible as he was in the past. That would be kind of cool. With an agility that you would have never suspected, Walter dived for his hole. He wriggled as fast as he could wriggle. He wriggled down his hole until a quarter of him was safe. A quarter? He wriggled until half of him was safe. He wriggled until 3/4 of him was safe, but Walter was a rather long worm. I'm scared for Walter now. I'm concerned that he's not going to get all safe. I'm concerned. Walter has me concerned for his health. Just as the last little bit of his tail, yes, worms do have tails, was about to reach safety, the early bird caught it. As Walter felt himself being pulled from his hole, he grabbed hold of the end of his bed. The early bird pulled and pulled and pulled. Full color pages. We love this. Walter getting pulled, we don't love that, though. That's kind of a bummer. The early bird, I gotta respect the early bird's commitment, but like, it's kind of a bummer for Walter. And Walter was stretched, and stretched and stretched until, with a loud snap, like an elastic band, Walter was catapulted out of his hole. No, he got snatched. So sad. What will our protagonist do now? I really hope nothing but the best for Walter. Hopefully he gets saved. Or he saves himself. I hope he saves himself, actually. Oh, help, cried Walter for the second time that morning, as the early bird carried him high into the sky. Please don't eat me, pleaded Walter. The early bird looked down at Walter with as a large tear rolled down his cheek. Yes, worms do cry. You know, first, I don't want to interrupt, but I'm really appreciating the amount of worm education in this book. Like, worms eat breakfast, worms have tails, worms have noses, worms cry. Like, it's really good representation for worms. I almost got through that whole sentence without laughing. And suddenly, the early bird felt sorry for Walter. In fact, she felt so sorry that she lost her appetite. Pity will get you everywhere in life. That's... yeah. Also, Little Miss Sunshine just in the background. Very interesting that they're just, like, throwing people in the background. But, I mean, pop off. Yeah. Don't worry, she said. I'll take you home. As she tilted in the sky, they flew over a beach. What's that? Asked Walter. It's a beach, replied the early bird. What's a beach? Asked Walter. The early bird was astonished that Walter had never seen a beach, but it was a very long way to the beach, or at least a very long wriggle for a small worm. So, the early bird flew down and landed on the sand. I'm loving the camaraderie over here. Also, Mr. Bump! Goodness, everyone's just around. Kind of crazy. Also, cute little boat. Cute little boat on the water. Very quaint. But I'm loving the camaraderie already between Walter, pardon me, and the early bird. I'm really, like, that's commendable. It's commendable. Walter had a lovely day at the seaside. He and the early bird made a sandcastle, and they ate ice cream. Look at that. They're making a sandcastle. Also, and they're doing ice cream. Also, hi, Mr. Strong. That's not how you swim. You don't swim like this. This isn't how you swim. But I mean, he is box shaped, so understandable. Also, his little hat. Look at Walter's little hat. Isn't that everything? That's everything. They went for a swim in the sea, and then, as the sun was setting, the early bird took Walter home. He's swimming! Look at him! Got a little flipper, got little goggles. Wow, look at them! Look at them! Look at them! Just a couple of buds, a couple of pals. We love to see it. We love to see it. Did I skip a page? No. Walter made himself supper, and then he went to bed, smiling as he thought about how lucky he had been to meet such a friendly early bird. Before he turned out his light, he was about to set his alarm clock when he had a sudden thought. He did not set his alarm. He did not... What? Hold on. When he had a sudden thought. And he did not set his alarm. He did not set his alarm because he realized that... Ooh, I'm sensing something coming. Also, we love Walter, we stan. 9 p.m., reasonable bedtime. My bedtime. The late worm avoids the early bird. But he became friends with the early bird. What? No. What? No, but he became friends with the early bird, and they had a lovely day at the beach. And now Walter doesn't. What? What? This is so upsetting. What? So Walter spends this entire day being chased by the bird and then realizing, well, it's not necessarily that the bird has, like, a change of heart and is like, maybe I shouldn't eat worms. It's more of the bird, like, Walter just plays the pity card and the bird takes pity on him. But, like, are you telling me that their bond was meaningless? That Walter did not value it? That it just... What? So he's never gonna see the early bird again? He's just gonna avoid the early bird for the rest of his life? Even after they had such a lovely day together? I am upset. Also, in the beginning, didn't he, like, wake up earlier than his alarm? Where's the inciting incident? Maybe it just specifically says early in the sense that he's always early, and that's... But he became friends with the early bird, so why is he avoiding the early bird? I guess Walter can do what he has to, but, like, that's so sad. Bruh. Why can't I have nice things? It's not as bad as Mr. Snow was, but still, it just fumbles right at the end. Just fumbles, because it's like, ha ha ha, funny ending, but then you think about it a little bit, like how Little Miss Quick ended a fugitive, and how Mr. Snow ended as just a soul in the pocket, and how Mr. Nobody ended as a yellow savior book, and how, I don't know, some of the other ones have also ended with a little, like, tongue-in-cheek ending, but then when you actually dive into it, you're like, bruh. It was so close to being perfect. It was so close. I'm not asking for another Mr. Small. I will never get another Mr. Small. I'll probably reread Mr. Small at some point, just to feel happy again. But you don't have to fumble it so hard in the end. You don't have to throw away everything you've established in the first 23 whatever pages, and then in the one last sentence you throw it all away for a little goof, a little gaff. I'm not trying to belittle your writing style, Mr. Adam Hargraves. I know you're watching. But I'm also just saying that I think that you need to more carefully construct your resolutions. And that's on that. So, Walter the Worm, good story. Fumbled it in the last sentence, but sometimes that happens. Good story overall, still though. Not as infuriated as I was at Mr. Snow. Anyways, thank you for joining me for this fun little thing of reading. Hopefully, I'll get a couple more out this month as well. Maybe some holiday themed ones, some Christmas ones, maybe. But anywho, hope you have a lovely day. Stay safe. And remember, pity gets you everywhere. and also you can just do whatever you want. I don't know. I don't know what the moral of this is. Bye, everybody. Have a good day. Toodles. See you.